Hello guys and welcome to Rise of Patience livecast. It's Cron here and I'm going to be bringing you guys a live-casted show match between PN5 and EL. Essentially this game is not a tournament game, so please don't be confused. This is not, a semi-final or a grand final. We only just started the tournament, as most of you guys know, and as part of that we're still getting through the qualifiers. But what we thought we would do is just do a couple of show matches in the meantime, just to give you guys a bit further of a taste of how the tier system works and, give everyone a little bit of action between some high level teams. EL and PN5 don't need any introductions here, but effectively EL, the reigning champions from last tournament in Nomadium 1, and you've got PN5, which is, this team that's kind of risen up out of the ranks just in recent months with a lot of acquisitions. I mean, Jatin's been, bankrolling a lot of these transfers, paying huge salaries and transfer fees to get all these former TGZ and former Full Valley players onto his side. So I don't know how he does it. It must be just bottomless pits of money. But PN5 has assembled a really strong lineup too. So I think this is going to be a great game. As you guys know, the tier system is on the screen right now. And you can see that essentially you can only pick one nation from each tier and they rotate through. So in this first particular match, it's going to be on Old World. And of the different nation picks here, we can actually see on the screen right now which ones they've gone with. So interestingly, both teams have gone for Japanese for the tier 1. So Japs are a great pick. I can't fault either of them for that. They're very, very solid on any map. And I think either Japanese or personally, I think Lakota are a dead tie for the best pick for tier 1. Then you've got PN5 have gone with Inca for tier 2, while EL have gone with Iroquois. And I'm actually pretty torn on how I feel about this because I feel like it's such a contrast between Iroquois and Inca. Obviously, it goes without saying, Inca is such a passive nation, especially in the early game. It's really a long-term nation. Once they get going into medieval age and once they get their mines up and running, that's when they really start to show off. And they become almost unstoppable due to the extreme level of wealth that they can generate. And especially on a map like Old World, where there's not that much ease of getting wealth. There's no fish to get your wealth from. So therefore, you're kind of reliant on either getting rares, such as diamonds or any wealth rare, or from getting your trade routes from your caravans. And so Inca just completely bypass that. They can spam scholars so well. That's why I feel like on this map, I'm gonna give PN5 the slight, Cron's advantage in this instance, because I just feel like I like that gold income on Old World of all maps. But Iroquois, great nation too, and it depends on who's going to play as them. I feel like certain players, when they play Iroquois, it's like playing with hacks because they're just so good at raiding. They dominate map control. Their troops are so tough, it's so hard to kill. So I feel like, Iroquois is definitely one of the top nations. It's just a different style to Inca. I also, just looking at tier 3, we've got another divergence there. We've got PN5 went with Indians versus EL has gone with French. And I can see Buzz is in the chat, so shout out to you, Buzz. Welcome to the stream. And anyone else who's watching, please say something in the chat. It'll be great to make this as interactive as possible. So we've got Indians as PN5 versus French as EL. Again, a bit of a divergence in strategy here. Indians, still a fast nation, but they're not particularly a rushing nation. They can't really put a lot of pressure on. Ellie's are obviously OP as hell once you get enough of them. But that's the big question. Can you get enough gold to fund a heap of Ellies on Old World? Well, we'll wait and see what rares they get, but you could argue that it's not going to be as easy as on a map such as Aussie Outback or Lakes or whatever else it might be where you can actually fish. So French, extremely aggressive nation. The healing goes without saying for the despots. So, I mean, again, look at that. Iroquois and French for EL versus Inca and Indians. It's basically leaning towards, early game and map control. EL are probably going to dominate just based on these nations. And then finally for tier 4, you've got Chinese on both sides. So it's a dead heat. They've both gone with what looks like a fairly safe option in Chinese. And Chinese are starting to become a bit of a favorite so far for a lot of these teams in the tournament so far, and also people that are picking tier 4. And that's probably fair enough. I mean, Chinese, I know Jatin doesn't like them for some reason. I don't know, not the people, just the nation. He loves Chinese people. But I feel like, the instant villages, the big cities, and their units as well. The medieval gunpowder units are great. So, it's a dead heat there with the Chinese. But this is going to be interesting. So going into it, it's also going to be fascinating to see which players each clan puts as their tier 1 player, because I've talked about this before, but I feel like whoever they go with, it's kind of like their ace player, the player that needs to make things happen, and probably a lot of pressure rests on whoever that player is. So for EL, you could probably argue that historically Dave might be considered one of their top players, and maybe he's going to go tier 1. For PN5, I don't know, it's hard to say. They're all pretty even. Lube's a great player. Jatin's always been solid. You've got Proles, who has really improved, and he plays great with Russians, and we'll just have to see if he can do well with any other nations here. But that's enough of the pre-game. I think we should jump straight into it. So I'll just quickly get the game set up now, and let's start the replay. Alright, so let's have a quick look at this map. So the way it's panning out so far, we've got PN5 have basically spawned on the bottom right hand side of the map as the players start to get their cities built. While if we look at the other side of the map, we've got EL effectively spread out over the top left hand side. And if we have a look at what nations and what players picked each nation, we've got, predictably, we've got El Bu with Iroquois. That's actually who I thought might have picked Iroquois, because I know Bu loves to play as them. We've got Dave going as the tier 4. That's interesting. So he's going as Chinese. And this is probably the biggest talking point, which people might not know here, is that, you can hear the taunts in the background. EL Low. So for anyone who doesn't know, EL Low, I think you meant to say LO, I'm not sure. That's actually Coin. And Coin was one of the players in For Valley, excellent player. And to the best of my knowledge, I thought he wasn't actually going to play in this Nomadium, but I was talking about Jatin having bucket loads of cash to get all these transfers. I think EL have seen all this spending in the transfer market and thought, no, we're going to go out and get a kingpin of our own. And they've gone and basically recruited Coin. So Coin's playing as French in this game, and then we've got Steez playing as the tier 1 nation in Jap. So no pressure, Steez, but it's all on you, buddy. And if you don't win, the guys are going to throw you under the bus. It's as simple as that. And then if we look at the other side, who have we got for PN5? So we've got Proles as Inca. Jatin's playing as the pressure guy with Japs. Tier 1 nation, the ace of their team. We've got Lube as Indians, and then we got Charlie Hebdo, Charlie Hebdo, aka Momo, as the Chinese player. And let's see how they're lining up. So we've got Indians here. So Lube, essentially against Momo. And it looks like he's going to be joined by Dave and Proles. So basically Proles and Momo versus Dave and Lube at the bottom. And then it looks like it's going to be the last two, which would be Bu and Steez versus versus Jatin. And hang on a second. Sorry, I'm getting my teams mixed up. Sorry, guys. I got the borders mixed. I'll turn off, there we go. They're on the same team, so it's, I was thinking Coin's not on PN7. What the hell's going on here? So we've got Coin and Steez duking it out against Jatin and Proles. That looks a bit better. And then finally, this all makes sense. Lube and Momo will probably end up teaming up here against Dave and Bu. So Dave and Bu, the dream team, are going to be reunited. This is going to be exciting to see. I mean, they were enemies in King of Sahara, so let's see if they can put the wounds behind them and join forces. So far we're only 3 minutes into the game, but we'll just have a quick look at see who's getting the most ruin bonuses as well. For the most part, these are all excellent players playing here, so there's no one that's a rookie that's going to let down the team. You can see that Boo and Dave do have they're tied for the lead with Momo at 100 ruins. And if I was to give points as to who's got the better scout off so far, I would probably give it to PN5. Yeah, PN5 do seem to have a better scout, but it's pretty even at this point in time. And just a quick scan of the ruins as well. Who is setting themselves up for success? Looks like Coin should be able to secure that tobacco. And wealth rares are pretty handy on Old World, as I was saying before. Definitely helps to have that. Oh, that is a prime rare though right there. And I feel like they haven't scouted it yet. So hopefully they do, because that is going to be a massive disadvantage if they don't get a hold of that sugar. But sugar is definitely going to help them in the long game. I would say that would be, without a doubt, the #1 rare that you can get in this game, as far as the added benefits that add up throughout the entire thing, getting 10% off food. However, I don't think the EL guys can be too upset. I mean, Pappy is also a very handy rare, mixed with Chinese. Obviously, that's a double bonus there. It stacks a bit. You get the 20% cheaper science research. Plus Pappy, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dave taking advantage of that and possibly going for, science 2, perhaps, before he ages up. And I wish I could hear what these guys were thinking at the time. I'm not sure if these guys were playing. This particular game was played over the weekend. So this is a cast off a replay. And my plan is I'll either cast 1 game tonight or possibly 2, seeing how we go. And then I'll cast the remainder either tomorrow or on Friday. So let's have a quick look at the text that each player is going with so far. Generally, you're not going to expect too much divergence from a standard Commerce 1, Civic 1. We have got a divergence here though from Jatton. He has gone for the classic Civic 1 followed by Commerce. So the city here, he has built that up against Coin's base there, and you can see that Coin's gone to place his city and hasn't been able to do so. It would have shown as yellow if he had tried to place it probably where he wanted to. And I think this is probably a bit of a risky spot for Coin to build here, to be perfectly honest, because he knows that he's up against Japs, and he knows that Japs City is close. And generally speaking, Japs has a pretty good advantage over French, especially in the early game. I mean, if Jatton wants to, he'll be able to apply a lot of pressure onto that French city, essentially from the comfort of his own home behind this territory. And whilst Coin will be able to, fight back with Despot, by building so close, it's perhaps not going to do him too much of a favour. On the flip side though, he obviously does secure that tobacco, and gold is huge on this map, so that's going to be something for us to monitor as to whether the benefits of getting that tobacco pays off and getting this territory versus the potential pressure of being so close to Japs. Mind you, Steez is in the back here, and can obviously back up Coin, so once the game pans out a bit and they consolidate their forces, it's probably not going to be such a big deal. You can see that Boo has a horseshoe up his ass at the moment because he's got pretty lucky getting salt right in his backyard. And with Iroquois, they spam a lot of units, so... Oh, and there is a Rax at the front here. Oh wow, I actually just missed that, but he does deny the city, and that is a huge development. And if you're Lube, that's a massive blow. I'm trying to see what tech. It looks like he went Commerce Mill, so not an overly aggressive build there by Boo, but still that's a huge payoff to deny that city. And you can see Lube's building his city behind straight away. And so that's the right thing to do, but it still doesn't negate the fact that he loses map control, loses map position, and also loses all that time that he took to actually to run back and get these citizens to build its stat. Lube has got it up there, so that's a good outcome, and he salvaged the situation a bit. You can see that ProLes is going for science before mill, so that's quite an economic build here. But yeah, I am more interested in seeing... Oh, there's a lot of pressure going down here from Jatin as well. You can kind of see some of this starting to play out, what I was talking about being so close to Japs. And this is just the early game too. Once it gets to the point where, you know, Jatin has siege, that city is going to be very vulnerable unless Steez can somehow back him up. And Steez has got a lot of responsibility to shoulder here, I think, because basically he has to counterbalance Jatin. But his city placement, it's very conservative, very safe, but perhaps something that a better position might have been maybe here, because that gives him a lot more proximity, a lot more ability to reinforce. He can build all his military buildings within that city radius. Oh, that is not good for Lube here. Great rating by Boo. He's hit the racks, and that is a massive whack to the head of Lube right now. He's trying and flailing to get this racks up, but there is no way that racks is going up. He needs to basically cancel it. Oh, luckily for him, he has got Momo to save the day here. So I guess, yeah, there's no point cancelling it if he absolutely is going to lose the res. So Momo does save him, but still, these raids are doing a lot of damage, and Boo, again, showing why he's an excellent Iroquois player, because Iroquois is such a fast raiding nation, and if you can spam as many units as possible, you can see Boo's actually, he's built 6 units so far, and that salt is a huge factor as well. You can see the first power move of the game here. Dave has gone straight for Colossus. He's actually skipped military, so basically that's excellent team play as well, because he knows that Boo has gone Iroquois. And when Boo goes Iroquois, he basically takes over map control and puts his opponents on the defensive edge. Meanwhile, that gives him a free ability to boom up to age 2, put down that Colossus, and basically secure a long-term advantage in the Wonder Race game. Still some nice raids going down here from Boo. That Silk Merchant does go down. And if it's up to him, he'll get a few more, but that tower is close to finishing, so he will have to run away soon. Oh, Jatin has gone for Commerce 2 before age 2. I like it. And if I know Jatin's style, I think he is going to go for a Despot Com 2 here. Almost without a doubt. I just know that that's something that he likes to do. And as Japanese, I say go for it. And that's going to be incredibly hard again for Coin to stop on his own, if he does go for that strategy. Again, it's going to come down to what Steez can do, whether Steez can reinforce, because, I mean, if ProLes can keep Steez busy, I wouldn't be surprised if Jatin can possibly capture this city and put Coin well and truly on the back foot. Wow. Look at these raids by Boo. I think there should be a definition that if you build more than 5 units, it's no longer a raid, it's an army. Because how are you meant to stop that many units? He's literally built a stable, and obviously that will help his cause a lot, but I reckon this number of slingers and archers could probably take down a light horse on their own. So, and that's frustrating too for Momo, because building your stable there is such a pain in the ass. It's so far away from the front lines, and yeah, it's just a net advantage for the EL guys to have forced that. So Boo's technology is a bit slow. He has spammed units, but at the expense of getting science. Dave's got his Colossus on the way, so we probably won't see too much from Dave, but he's set up really well for the long game here. Let's have a look at the at Lube. So Lube, he was slowed down quite a bit by losing his first city up here, and also that rack's being built. But he looks like he's stabilized, a fairly standard build so far. He's got Silk, Amber, Obsidian, and Wool. whereas Boo still skipped science, but it looks like Boo's really playing the aggressive role here, just to raid, constantly harass, and allow Dave to be the one that sits back and booms up. And Dave's already got 150 wood income, and he's getting his Republic, so I wouldn't be surprised if he spams that up to even a 200 wood income soon. In a 4v4, there's so much going on, so I'm probably going to miss a few things here. But if we have a quick look across the board, so Prolaze has gone for a fairly standard build here, getting his Republic, taking up fairly normally. They've got wine, horses, and bison. Especially like the bison, that's great for the food income coming in. But I do think the storyline's going to be around coin here, because just at a very high level, I feel like Dave and Boo have a really good setup over here, especially their map positioning. I mean, look at Boo's city right here. It's just in the perfect position. There's this river here on either side of his city, so it's very easy to defend it. And if you're Momo, and Lube gets doubled here, which he probably will, I mean, let's be honest, he has to either come all the way around this mountain at the back, or he has to try and go straight through the territory of Boo. And there's nothing more frustrating than going through the territory of an Iroquois player, because you can't see their units, and you'll be stumbling along, and suddenly it's like a wild Pokemon appears. But it's not a Pokemon, it's 6 units of Boos just pop out of nowhere and kill all yours. So,
yes.
And we can see here that, call me Nostradamus, but Jatin has gone for Despot here, which I suspected he would, and I think that's a good move. It's gone for the Commerce too, basically spammed his farms, and Jatin's got a good income coming in, so making the most of his tier 1 Jap nation. And I honestly feel like EL has the overall advantage at the bottom of the map, well and truly. They got better map position, they got Colossus, and they also slowed down both Lube and Momo early game. So I think for EL for PN5 to have a really good shot here, Jatin's probably got to try and capture Strasbourg and make it happen and put coin on the back foot. At the very least, it'll either divert some resources from the other side of the map, or it might force Dave and Boo to make some rash decisions. So some very nice raids here from Jatin, but Coin does have a decent army as well. Enough units here to fend it off, that's for sure. And Coin has gone for Despot. So this is going to be interesting. I mean, you've got... I both like it and I don't like it at the same time. It's not to say it's the right or wrong move, but I just feel like if you're a Despot player, as French, it's great to go Despot because of the healing, don't get me wrong. But when you're up against Japs, you probably have to play and take a defensive posture, because it's going to be hard to go Despot with 100 eco against a Japanese player because their economy is just too good. Nice raiding here by Boo. The sign of a really good player, and that's not Boo by the way, any other player but Boo, just kidding Boo, is how many units they lose. So you'll notice that Boo goes in and attacks, but he'll always bring his damaged units back, heal them up, and basically collect more units and collect and collect and collect. And eventually, as long as you don't lose units, you'll mass up an army that can really do a lot of damage. Coin here going behind enemy lines here, but I don't know if this is a good idea. Looks like he's going to lose a lot of units here. Jatin is saying, thank you very much. I think he may have overextended there, perhaps not thinking that Jatin's army would be in place, but like not bad logic there because of the healing powers, and it's great to roam around with French, but he's just run into a trap. Dave saying Boo collects lost games. And yeah, let's wait and see. But so far this game's looking pretty good for the old EL duo at the bottom left. You can see Dave saw what Boo was doing and he says, Boo, I can do one better. Raiding here with 2 cataphracts. But he has gone for Senator. And look at Dave's eco, he's got 170 wood, so he's definitely on his way to getting 200 wood like I mentioned before. Steve's also doing decent pressure here. He's taking out this uni, but I do feel like Proles has got Inca, and that's a good nation here against Japs. If Proles takes the defensive posture, he should be able to hold off Stees. Wow. And yeah, Boo not holding back. You can see what his strategy is. It's just balls to the wall, raid, collect, and repeat, fall back and heal up and do it all again. I can see Jatan's bringing his army across here. I'm not sure what the intention is here. Perhaps they want to try and double and take out Steers' army, or maybe Proles is worried that he may need some backup, but it looks like they do have enough units. Personally, if I was to you know, be watching this live and give Jatan advice, I'd be saying, man, I recommend trying to have a crack at Coin here, because Com 2 Despot beats Com 1 Despot any day of the week. Coin is sending units to raid though. Oh wow, look at this. Lube is under some serious pressure here. And again, Boo retreating when he needs to. But Lube is starting to accumulate. He's got how many elephants? Just the one for the time being. If he can get a couple more, that's really going to help as far as, you know, being able to defend against Iroquois. Wow, I haven't mentioned this so far, but look at Steers' economy. That is a superb economy. He's got commerce too, 190 food, 180 wood, and a decent knowledge income coming in as well. But a nice attack here by Proles. He does have the right unit composition to make light work of this Japanese army. It's a good micro with the horses as well. Ooh, and they've just scattered furs. That's gotta hurt if you're the EL guys. And I think everyone will have to blame Boo for that one, given that it's within his Tower Scout territory. Just kidding, Boo. Ooh. I have to say, probably not the best of micro here by Steez. Might be a little bit rusty, but he lost a lot of units there for not really any reason. And Jatan's got pyramids now. I'll just do a quick check in case I've missed it, but has anyone built hanging gardens yet? No, hanging gardens is still yet to go down, so Jatan's gone for pyramids over hanging gardens. Interesting choice there, but I do like pyramids, so... Oh, you can see French is bringing all his militia here, so he's going for it. Does Jatan have units here? And does he have militia? He does have militia research, but not enough units here. They're out of position, and you can see Proles is coming across to reinforce. Jatan needs to be careful here. There's no point fighting archers against militia. He needs to run them away. But Proles is bringing his army across, and Proles has a fine army there as well. A heap of archers and heavy horse. I can't see Coin holding here. Coin probably needs to turn around now that Proles is reinforcing. But here comes Steez. Steez is coming in with his entire army as well. This is just all-out Royal Rumble right now. Tagging Steez, it's kind of hard to tell who's got the most units here, but Jatan does have his militia ready to go. Remember, Coin pulled all of his militia, so if PN5 can hold this,
that's what I'm talking about.
They're going to be in a good position. But at the same time, if they can't hold this, this is a huge strategic city that they need to somehow retain. Wow, that was a great move by Coin. Risky, but it's worked out great, and let's hope he spams some citizens in the background. I think he has got citizens rebuilding those militia that he lost. Boo applying some serious pressure here. But yeah, this is where the real action is at the time. For the time being, wow.
Work on your economy.
I wasn't expecting Coin to be the one to break through here, but that's just the power of a well-timed despot rush. I was not expecting that, and I dare to say that Jatten probably wasn't expecting it either. See some militia being pulled here by Momo to defend off Boo's raid. But Momo's economy is not great at the moment, to be perfectly honest, and as a Chinese player, it's probably fairly average. But Boo does have the better eco. Dave's got a fine eco as well. He's got the Colossus, of course, and look at that knowledge income, 187 knowledge. That's got to be a huge advantage. Let's have a quick look at the knowledge collected. So Dave's leading by 1.1 thousand knowledge. The next closest is Boo, and then it's fairly standard across the board from there. So Dave's already got Science 3, and that's going to accelerate even further. He's already got his library upgrades as well. Not looking good for the PN5 guys at the moment. I mean, especially for Jatten. I think he's lost his entire army at this point. And Steez does take out the city of Tomabamba. Yeah, great play by EL. Some nice raiding going on by Momo, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to help turn this game around for PN5 at the moment.
No.
I'm just going to bring up the military graph for a second here. You can see Steez has a huge army here, and Proles and Jatten, their armies unfortunately are heading south. Momo is trying to take out Boo's army here and perhaps capture the city, and he's going to need to because, as I talked about before, it's just so hard to reinforce and help out Lube. But you can see Steez is marching across the map right now. Boo saying in the chat, Inca was last to age. Well, I think Boo was last to age from memory, but I won't bring that up. You can see the pyramids are going to go down here. And, oh, one thing Coin needs to do, he needs to get his despot into range, because if he gets double the... I believe you get more plunder, right? If they're within... Yeah, double plunder from enemy buildings. I think you get a massive amount if you have the despot close. Let's see how much he gets. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to get as much as he would otherwise. Oh, he is bringing the despot across. Oh, well done, Coin. 500 timber. That is... that's a lot of timber. Although it would have been nice if it was gold, but you can only take what you can get. And Coin has got commerce too now, so his economy is looking fine. And look at Steez's economy. Wow, one thing about Steez, he's always underestimated, but I think this was a good move giving him Japs. Because there's one thing you can say about Steez, he is an excellent boomer. I mean, if the team had a strategy where they wanted to despot rush with all 4 players, I don't know if I'd be picking Steez as the first choice. But if you had a strategy where you wanted to boom up and get every wonder and get to like Gunpowder or Enlightenment Age within the first half an hour of the game, Steez would be #1 every single time. And maybe I'm being harsh on Steez. Maybe he's an excellent despot player as well. Adben saying in the chat, how do you get wood from destroying a sandstone structure?
Oh, it's on.
And I think in reality, the pyramids are actually built of wood, but there's just a veneer, like a casing over the top of stone. That's just the secret way they built it. So those ancient Egyptians, man, they're pretty smart. You just got to be careful not to light a match, or the whole pyramids will go on fire. So man, Jatten's capital has gone down. who got the cap sack here? It was Coin, so he got the 500 wood for that pyramids, and he also got the 500 of all res for the cap sack, so he is not short of $1 right now. Not short of a coin, I'd even say. Maybe a 10-cent coin. As I said the other day, coin's got a lot of dollars, but not a lot of cents. Yeah, I just burned your coin, so how do you like that? Again, for the third time. This game is definitely over for the PN5 guys, but they're going to continue playing it out for a little bit. Oh, it looks like... Oh, there has been a cap sack here. How on earth did Jatten do this? He's lost his cap. He had nothing going for him. And he snuck around the back with a heap of these elite bushies. Great against buildings, so nice little revenge there. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to change the course of this match, but still, he can hold his head high and say he got one back at coin. So Dave pressing in here on Lube. And you can see how Dave's such a genius when it comes to Ron. Let's see how many units Dave's lost this entire game. Units killed 6, units lost 5. Which is exactly what you want to do when you play with Colossus, because every unit you don't lose is a unit that you can build into your death ball. Jatten saying GG, let's re. These guys are playing on over this side. Finally, we do get the GGs, and so that will be an official to EL. Congratulations to EL. Well done, guys. I'll just update the scoreboard, so bear with me 1 second. Update. All right, let's see if that works. Yep, perfect. So let's quickly break it down. What were the key moments of this match? A great game all around, but I feel like, you know, I was talking in the early game, I thought Coin would be in trouble here. I felt like Jatten had good proximity with Japs. Japs is a faster nation than French. And perhaps Jatten went for that Despot 2, Commerce 2 Despot. I felt like perhaps if he'd gone for an Age 1 rush and applied early pressure, he probably could have captured Strasbourg. I mean, that's not to say Coin wouldn't have seen it coming and defended perfectly, who knows. But I feel like that might have been a better outcome had he gone for that strategy. But I mean, other than that, I think you summarize this, you say, you know, excellent rating there by Boo. And that comes down to the tier nation picks. PN5 went for those, you know, better economic, better boom nations, but they're slower. Whereas you look at EL, they went gung-ho, they went for the aggressive, they went for the jugular, and they chose aggressive nations. Iroquois, French, on top of, you know, the Chinese mirror matchup and the Jap mirror matchup. So overall, well played, and wow, look at those rares. Dave had a huge knowledge income at the end there. So he was, yeah, Gunpowder Rage, well and truly first. Have a quick look at the timeline as well. Yeah, you can see that Dave was always ahead of the tech, and that was just an advantage of, you know, being able to boom. While Boo went for that those early raids. Does anyone in the comments who's watching right now have any anything they want to talk about or anything for me to read out to the other viewers? Because we'll quickly you know, summarize anything else that anyone wants to bring up, and then we'll probably dive straight into the next game. I'm just having a quick look at the comments now. We want to see the other game, please. Oh, I was thinking of casting it tomorrow, but yeah, we'll do one more, and we'll see how I feel after that. Who knows? It might be a rush. Actually, I'm just curious too. We'll see who got the most ruins as well. So Dave got 275 ruins. Next closest was Boo with 175. Steez with 175. So overall, EL's ruin game was on point, and I think that's something that is underestimated at times. But I mean, yeah, for anyone watching this, when it comes to Nomadium games, you're already at a huge disadvantage if you can't match the early ruins. And so that's something you can do just by practicing and playing against AI, or just practicing your games, making sure you get good scouts. Sometimes it's luck, so don't kick yourself if you can't always get good ruins. But on average, you want to try and at least be on parity with your opponent, if not ahead of them. Just checking, anyone else? French tier 1. No, French will definitely not be tier 1 coin. I sense a bit of bias towards French there. It's the chat on the stream bugged. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I'm not sure the reason for that, but that's probably out of my pay grade to fix that. I would like to promote Coin's picture as a 50-cent coin, says Dave. No, I'm sorry. Coin will always be a 10-cent coin. Maybe one day he'll be a 20 cents. We'll see. You want me to sing Candy Shop by 50 Cent? That is something we have to see on the next cast, I believe. Absolutely. What did you say about units killed in Colossus? Ananai, please let us know your nickname too. I'm curious. That looks like a Turkish name. So what I was saying though was with Colossus, this is just my personal Cron's tips for the world. If you play with Colossus, it's tempting because you get a big army often with your wealth to go in there and push them around and attack. But strictly from a game strategy point of view, Colossus's biggest advantage in Nomad is the fact that you get extra 50 population, right? And if you want to take advantage of that, you want to build your army up as big as possible and basically get to the point in the game where everyone else is pop capped, hopefully, and you're not. And you can build an extra 20 units, 30 units, or obviously the dream would be 50 units, and basically march your army across and just destroy and crush anyone in your way. So what I'm trying to say, I guess, is if you want to play well with Colossus, try not to lose units. And you can see it across all the units lost here. Dave only lost 5, which meant everything else was army that he had. All right, I can see Joe's keen for the next match here. So guys, without further ado, I'm not going to continue talking as much as I'd love to about this forever. And you can see Boo saying in the chat, a bit of lip there from the Irishman. Cron's tips, is this the same Cron that had to get through the qualifiers? Hey Boo, I'll have you know that AZ are undefeated at this point in time. You can only beat who's in front of you, right? So think about that next time you're going to run your mouth. I don't think EL's won a single game this entire tournament so far. Show matches don't count, of course. So just remember that, mate, before you're running your mouth. All right, we'll bring up the previous screen. So just so you can see, we'll quickly touch on the nation picks for the next one before we get stuck in. So we've got PN5 have selected Turks, Bantu, Aztec, and Spanish. The map's on lakes. Oh, it's on lakes and it's late at night here, so hopefully this doesn't go forever. Part of me hopes it does. Part of me hopes it's a rush game. But we have got Turks though, so that's going to be fascinating. They have picked Turks on lakes. Do I like that as a pick? Oh, yeah, I do actually. I think it's going to be nice because they'll be able to probably surprise someone and make it possibly a quick knockout punch on one of the cities in the borders. Bantu, great nation for lakes. Aztec, great if they can get to gunpowder. And Spanish, yeah, I don't mind them. It's good for the scouting, but not a lot of other benefits. For EL, they've gone with Egypt. Actually, wow, they've gone with Egypt. Why didn't PN5 go with Egypt? Now that I think about it, this is I'm starting to get worried for PN5. This is risky to not go Egypt on lakes, of course. So EL have gone with some great picks here. Egypt, Bantu, unlimited pop cap, of course, for Bantu makes them great. Greeks, excellent nation on lakes. And you've got Maya, and Maya can probably rush the third wonder that Egypt don't get if they want to. Because I can't see anyone on PN5. Bantu can't rush a wonder. So just before the game even starts, this is Cron's prediction on how this is going to play out. Again, I have no idea. I'm completely unspoiled. But I feel like EL are going to get Colossus and Hanging Gardens if they know what's good for them. And probably Maya might try and rush the third wonder. We'll wait and see. But PN5 have gone for a very aggressive choice in Turks. So for PN5 to win this match on lakes, they're probably going to have to basically get Turks to do all their work. And Adven just said in the chat that why can you choose the same nation on both sides? The reason for that is because we're not telling teams what nations they're going to play as. They can choose any nation they want. Both teams don't know what the other team is going to pick before it starts. They only find out at the loading screen. And yeah, if both teams wanted to all pick the exact same nations, they can do so. The reason it's not been possible in the past is because when we played random in the last tournament, basically when it goes random, you cannot get two nations, just the way the random number generator works, I guess, for the game. So you don't see Japs versus Japs in a random game, but if both teams pick it, then yeah, there's no problem with it. And I think it's great. So I will just quickly load up the second replay and let's get stuck into it. Enough about me talking. I'll talk all day, as you guys can probably realize. So bear with me. I'll just quickly load that up now. Game number 2. All right, bear with me. Finally got that up and running now. All right, game number 2 on Great Lakes. And yeah, I'm sure Coin would like to pick French on all 3 games, but that's unbridled patriotism right there. So as I said, I do like EL's picks though. And let's have a look at which players are which. And for those that don't know, the official tier rules are in place here. So the rules are, if you played as tier 1, you have to play as tier 2 in the next game. Tier 2, you have to play as tier 3, etc., etc. So Prolays was tier 2 last game. He has to, as Inca, he has to play as tier... He actually has to play as tier 3. Some bending of the rules here, guys. I'm not sure what's going on, but he has picked Spanish, so look, it's a show match. It's not a big deal. But technically speaking, he would normally have to pick a tier 3. Unless I'm making a mistake, but someone tell me in the chat if I am. Same as Jatin, actually. Jatin was okay, so we have bent the order of the games. That's all good. So just so you guys know, normally you have to go tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. In this case, we're going to just ignore that because it is a show match, and it's all good because Jatin's gone from tier 1 to tier 3. The important thing is they haven't picked more than one nation from each tier, so it's going to be very balanced, regardless as who plays who. So who's their tier 1 player on both teams? We've got Lube playing as Turks. So again, the storyline around this game, in my opinion, is going to come down to Lube and how he can play as Turks and how he can use their siege and their ability to rush to their advantage, because in the absence of some serious damage from Turks, this game naturally will devolve into, a wonder race essentially. But there's no such thing as a wonder race when you're against Egypt, because Egypt are such a powerful nation to play as on Great Lakes, because you can build your wonder in age 1. Your opponents cannot try and rush the same wonder and build it first. There's no such thing as a wonder race. You can build it basically at your own leisure, and the only real way to stop Egypt is to get a raid off. And to get a raid off on Great Lakes, it's incredibly difficult. It's such a big map. It's so spread out. You have to go around these lakes to get there, and you probably need a nation such as... Well, Bantu would probably do it if you went for early military, but again, it's a long way to walk, or a long way to run if you're Bantu. Advan just said, if there's only 2 games shown, then it's obvious the first team wins map 1, the other one is also won by them. That's not true. There's 3 replays I have. If I cast all 3 tonight, I might do that. If we play this one and it's 1-1 and there's a 3rd game, then I might cast it tonight. I might cast it tomorrow. So this is completely unspoiled. let's have a look at the lakes quickly. So you can see that the EL guys have a nice big lake here. 6 fish, that's excellent resources, excellent source of gold. And importantly for them, it's not likely that it's going to be infiltrated by the PN5 guys anytime soon. Oh, I can see what Advent's saying in the chat on that overlay. Yeah, game number 3 did have dummy nations. Although, to be honest, I'll talk to Jatin about this later, but I do agree. I think perhaps we can tweak that and put just random for games number 2 and 3 and maybe update it after each game. Just to avoid that, because I feel like some people will read into it too much and feel like it's spoilers. But look, that's why we do these show matches. We're ironing out the bugs. Because when it comes to the big leagues, we want to bring you guys a perfect product. Because we're nice guys. It's also pretty important to have a quick look at the rares. So we do have tobacco here on the PN5 side. Normally tobacco is a very, very important rare when it comes to nations that don't include Egypt. But because they're against Egypt, it's probably not going to make such a big deal. Because Coin should be building at least 1, and I'd say probably a minimum of 2, if he can. Hanging Gardens and Colossus here. And not necessarily for the fact that he needs them to win the game, but it's the added advantage that if you build it, your opponent can't build it. So you're basically stealing it from them as well. And Lakes is notorious for being a map that is decided in the long game by whoever's got Colossus and Hanging Gardens. Because it's such tight corridors to attack with. It often ends up into, huge siege fests where you've got armies on both sides lining up against each other. And the only way to crack those big siege fests comes down to essentially, who gets to gunpowder first, who gets cannons, who gets arquebusiers. Someone will correct my pronunciation. The guys with guns is what I'm trying to say. Nice rare having sugar here for PN5. That is definitely something that's in their favor. They have citrus, cotton. They do have relics as well. And they've got silver, so... Wow, and gems. Excellent rares there for PN5. And they can probably snag this silk too if they wanted to. And peacocks. Wow. Coin saying if everyone picks French, that's fair. Wow, I can't think of anything more sad or depressing than everyone playing as French. Although it would make for some fun games. We'll have to do another show match sometime. Or what about all Russians? That'd be fun too. So if we're going to compare rares, yeah, definitely, from what I can see, a huge advantage here for the PN5 guys in the long game. This actually might balance the game back in their favor, I feel. Again, assuming Turks can't get a quick kill off, I feel like the fact that they haven't gone to Egypt puts them at a bit of a disadvantage from a nation perspective. But look at the rares. Furs is nice. Amber is decent. Bison, pretty useless on this map. Look, horses is handy. If they can secure that diamonds, that's going to help a lot. Pappy is huge, so I'm not going to lie, Pappy is very, very useful to have. And they do have salt. So essentially they've got nations which are better for building massive armies and and booming with science, but I'm still going to give PN5 the advantage here. I mean, the fact they got sugar, silver, relics, they're probably 3 of the top 4 rares that you want on this map. So look, not overly balanced one way or another, but it's definitely handy for PN5 to have that. You can see Coin does put down this Colossus. Being picky here, but I would have preferred if you'd built it in the corner. It's a little bit easier to protect. fairly unlikely, but someone could come through with an army later on and focus that down with cannons, for example. Oh, look at this. So Lube is, I was about to say for Lube is the key player here. All eyes should be on Lube, because whatever he decides to do is essentially going to decide this game. No pressure. The reason I say that is because if he doesn't make a move, PN5 is going to be at a huge disadvantage in the long game. But you can see that he's gone for military 2. For anyone who's not familiar with what military 2 means before aging up, essentially the only reason you do this is if you're playing as Turks, or in a few very rare instances on a map like Aussie Outback where you've got fish. Because the reason Turks do it is that once they age to age 2, they can spam their siege workshop straight away, get very, very quick siege out. They get 2 free siege every time they build the siege, and their siege can fire from all the way from Europe to Australia. So they've got massive range on their siege.
Hello.
And you can see that they have scouted Boo building his second city here, trying to secure furs. Maya is not a bad nation to have against Turks because they're a little bit hardier. They got more HP and they fire arrows as well. But it's going to come down to what Lube does. Where's Lube's citizen? That's what I want to see. Oh, he does have his racks up here. So, where's his citizen though? Where's he building his siege? Coin is going for that Hanging Gardens. I like that. But the EL guys have to be careful here. Okay, so Jatton's going for some pretty heavy raids, and that's fairly normal as Aztecs, but looks like he has slowed down Dave a bit here. Dave's score is the lowest on his team. Lube said as he speaks bad English. Lube's got the most British accent I've ever heard. So that sounds like an excuse of all excuses, but apparently Lube wasn't on voice chat when they were playing, so a little bit harder to communicate with him. You can see the siege is going down here though, so nice strategy. And look at that time, 9 minutes 50 and he's already got siege out. Normally you don't see siege out until about 14 minutes in a typical match, so this is incredibly dangerous for Dave here. Unless these guys see this coming, which I don't think he's got any idea it's coming. And not even close to aging. Note the rules of the tournament are that you can't capture a city unless you're in age 2. Jatton's in age 1, so he's got to be careful. He can't capture that. I think it's only capitals. He can't capture the capital until he ages, but if he walked across and sat away from it and then captured it a second after he aged, that's perfectly legal. Why is he attacking that market? That's be a misclick there, but he's got to be, you can see Dave is realizing what's going on now and perhaps shit himself a little bit because he has to get militia, let alone, he hasn't even got to age 2 yet. He needs to get militia ASAP and start getting on his knees and praying, because I don't see how they're possibly going to stop this triple here. You can see that Momo's bringing some units as well. I'm not sure where his Rax is. Oh, his Rax is not too far away. Would have been probably better for Momo to build a bit closer, but they have got the element of surprise here. I'm sure Dave is, thinking, how am I going to possibly stop this? He's probably also thinking, Steez, stop booming, man. Oh, look at Steez, he's gone Commerce 2, Civ 2. So a big boom strategy. Nice play here by PN5. They're going in for the kill. They have probably too many units here. They're surely going to get this cap sack. And they do get the cap sack here. Jatton has taken that plus 500. And he did get to age 2 first, so no rules were broken here. Excellent play there. And wow. I'm pretty excited to see this. He gets the pyramids to go down. And these siege are going to clean up as well. Oh, excellent play there by PN5. Perfect strategy. They correctly predicted that, that this strategy was going to pay off on this map, and that, Coin would go for those wonders. But Steez perhaps was going to boom like he did. And PN5 have taken a commanding lead in this game. From here, they should be able to close it out, but nothing is ever done until it's done. So let's see if Dave can somehow mount a comeback. Although he's going to need some serious help from Steez. I think the only way I can see this coming back for EL is if somehow they can stabilize. Steez can spam a lot of units. Perhaps Dave can get whatever he's got left in citizens to convert to militia. But he doesn't have that militia research yet either, so it's going to be difficult. And I mean, Boo and Coin are not really in a position to help. It's just this map is too spread out. Excellent play there by PN5. And perhaps the EL guys are probably kicking themselves a bit. If they'd scouted a little bit earlier, it may have assisted with being able to prepare and maybe tell Steez to stop his his economic builds and just go for a quicker age, quicker mill, more units. But yeah, this timer is counting down, and one thing that perhaps the PN5 guys could have done in hindsight is maybe they could have let Turks capture the city, because Turks, they assimilate the city a lot faster than any other nation does. So this would already be assimilated by now, which would have guaranteed that they could start repairing the cap and build towers, etc., etc. Probably not going to make a great deal of difference though. Has assimilated now. You can see towers going down here, a lookout going down, and a mine as well. Obviously Jatten's not content with just taking the city. He also wants to humiliate Dave by mining his resources. You see that Dave is doing everything he can to, essentially mass up units. He knows that his time in this game's not going to be that long unless he can put all his resources to good use. He has got militia, so well played there by Dave. Doing everything he possibly can do right. He does need Steez to spam a lot more units though. Fortunately, Steez's great strength in the last game, perhaps you could argue is his weakness in this one. Just the economy is too good, but just not enough units on the field. Although to be fair, I don't know what could have possibly been done to stop this. This build was incredibly strong, and nice rating by Jatten at the start to slow down Dave, and then followed up by the Turk siege. Just great strategy all around. And who knows, maybe this is going to change the metagame of Great Lakes. I mean, it's not just a case of picking Egypt's now. I think Egypt's still going to be a popular choice, but I think Turks, I think Lakota could be chosen as well. Germans and Mongols also great, but I'm just not sure if they're as good as Egypt, Lakota, or Turks, depending on what type of strategy you want to go for, because you're going to pick Egypt every day of the week. It does look like Boo is realizing that it's looking dire on the other side of the map, and he needs to make something happen. Oh, great economy here by Boo as well. That's a big eco, considering he doesn't have any wonders yet. You can see he's got 5 merchants out and six fish, so it's fairly standard, but that's a big food and wood income. Yeah, Dave is effectively dead at this point. There's just no way that they're going to retake this. And Jatten will be very happy about that. He's got salt now, so salt is without a doubt Jatten's favourite rare, for anyone who's watched his casts before. And he's got to be happy because he's playing as Aztecs. I've got to say, Jatten plays Aztecs very well. I personally don't think the Aztecs are always that great of a nation until you get to gunpowder, but if you play with a very aggressive style, it pays off. You just need to think of every unit you build as a big investment. Oh, you can see that Coin is going for a very unorthodox move here. Behind enemy lines with a heap of these hoplites. He's getting the phalanx upgrade. Oh, he does age though. Oh, that's very bad timing for Coin. I'm sure he was getting excited about potential capsack, but that's bought Lube enough time here now to get attrition if he wants to. He's bringing his own militia in, and it should be enough to stave off this attack. Again, this is probably academic in the scheme of things because Dave is about to time out. Let's give Dave final words. Watch his units all disappear. RIP Dave. Not something you see very often, Dave being timed out, but an excellent rush, and just proves that this rush was so strong that I don't think there's any player that could have held that off without at least some serious foresight and an ally to help back them up as well. You can see, yeah, Coin desperately trying to capture this cap, but it's not going to happen. And GG being called here. GG being called, but they're not leaving just yet. Oh, Boo saying try a minute. So Boo still feeling optimistic. In fairness to Boo, he has had a great eco this game, so probably wanting to see what he can do. He's getting age 3. But yeah, look at that score. It's a 3v2 here. He does have 2 wonders though, so you never know. There's still a 1% chance that EL can turn it around. I wouldn't say 2%, but I'd say 1%. But every second that goes by, it's going from 1% to 0.9 to 0.8 to 0.7 because let's be real. Chatton's got a great eco. He's got pyramids. You've got Momo playing as Bantu. Again, an excellent nation on this map. 0% Joven. Yeah, I would say 0. What's 1 divided by a Googleplex? Whatever that number is. There's always a chance. There we go. Steve's throwing out the GG. And I'm going to wait for them to officially quit. There it is. GG, well played PN5. Excellent play there. Again, I think if you summarize this game, it just came down to excellent strategy. They came into the game knowing what they wanted to do. They picked the right nations. They took a bit of a risk by picking Turks as their tier 1, which is, it flies against the face of what Kron would have told them to do. Kron would have said, yeah, go for Egypt. And I was expecting to see Egypt versus Egypt, but no, they went for Turks, and it really paid off. And the fact that they killed Dave proves that this essentially would have worked against anyone without some serious scouting and without, their ally there to help them out. So well played, well played. I will just quickly jump across back to that previous screen again. So we can see here that, I'll just bring it across. So we're into game 3, and let's just finish it. I wasn't sure if I was going to cast all the games, but we've come this far. So what's one more game? The decider. It's 1-1. I'll quickly update the scoreboard too before I forget. PN5 showing that they're a serious threat in this tournament coming up in Nomadium 2. Once the proper games start, taking a game off EL there with just great strategy alone and great execution. So we'll just quickly, I'll bring up that next replay. And before we jump into the final game of this best of 3 series, let's quickly talk about the nation picks. So we weren't sure if these nation picks were real or not, but obviously we know it's 1-1 now, so they are real. So we've got the map of Amazon. So if you think of Amazon, it's quite a well-balanced map, a lot of rivers, so some paths are quite slow. can lead to playing slightly more defensive, slightly more boomy, but there's also a lot of paths to take. So who have they gone with? They've gone with PN5's gone with Lakota. I think Lakota is an excellent nation. I'm very biased towards Lakota. I think they're fantastic on all maps. As far as Amazon in particular, I'd say, yeah, it's up there. It's probably about average. They've picked British as their tier 2. British on Amazon kind of flies against the advice of picking British on a water map, but still British are a great team as well. Obviously a lot of flexibility. They can go for despot and apply heavy pressure if they want to. Nubians, I like that. Nubians, generally a lot of rares on this map, so it should work out well. And they've gone Dutch for tier 4. Probably a slightly controversial decision, but Dutch are great. I know people think of Dutch as weak, but if you're playing for the long game, Dutch are incredibly powerful once you get to an eco of say 150 plus, and you don't get rushed. On the other side, you've got EL going for Mongols, Inca, Persians, and Spanish. Spanish, great for the team, not necessarily great for the player. Mongols, I don't mind them, but to be honest, they're about the same or on par with the other ones. So if they were truly trying to pick their best team, I probably would recommend going Lakota over Mongols, but they're all fairly well balanced. Inca, I like it. I think Inca's great on land maps. And finally Persians. As a tier 3 pick, I don't mind them. Look, they're not bad. I mean, who else are you going to pick here? Are you going to pick Indians? Are you going to pick Aztecs? Not really. They've already picked French and they've already picked Greek, so it's either Persians or Nubians. I must say, probably Nubians. I'd say are probably slightly better, but it's not like a massive difference. All right, and obviously this was a show match, and I think these guys probably didn't have a chance to, strategize for weeks in advance like they will for an actual tournament game. So, yeah, I'm not going to hold their nation picks and scrutinize them too much. It's more just part of the fun of analyzing what the teams are going into the match. All right, so let's flip across back to the game. All right, and let's start. So let's see who has picked who so far, and I'll just fast forward the first couple of minutes of the game. So we've got Jatton as British. We've got Momo as Lakota, Proways as Nubians, and Lube as Dutch. It'll be interesting to see how Momo goes playing as Lakota. I feel like that's the nation that's going to have the most influence on this game. One thing for us to watch is to see where Momo builds his second city, because that's going to have a huge impact on how much map control their team can get into the mid game. And then on the flip side, you've got Coin as the support player on their team, playing as the slightly weak but very helpful team of Spanish. You've got Boo allying with Coin, playing as Persians. Again, I'm not sure if I like the pick of Persians there over Nubians, but we'll wait and see, and the game can show us whether it was a good decision or not. We've got Steez playing as Inca. And Steez is such a big boomer that that's probably a good decision for him. I can't see that being a bad decision in the long term, unless they get rushed. And then finally, we've got Dave as Mongols. So Dave playing as the tier 1 this game, and I'm sure Dave is surely going to perform well as Mongols here. Dave's wood, he has got 80 wood, but it's he's had to build slightly out of the way, so a bit of a walk to get there from his initial city. But it should be well and truly compensated by the fact that he won't have to build another woodcutter camp for at least quite a long time. All he needs is...
I need food.
With 80 woodcutters, all you need is one more city and you've already got 100 wood, so... I just saw in the chat, Lube or Momo. I might have made a mistake there, hang on. if I convince the two. Oh, hold on a second. Who is better, Lube or King? I'm just reading some of the chat. I'm catching up on some of the chat, so give me 1 second. Lube or King, I would say... Oh, look, I'm not on PN5, so I can speak with freedom here. Both great players, but Lube is excellent player. I've always been really impressed by Lube. Anyone that can beat me in a Nomad game, which is pretty much everyone, I have a lot of respect for, but I know Lube's beaten me quite a number of times, and he has a lot of good strategic thought as well. So King, also a great player. I haven't seen him as being as active, but he's historically always been a top tier player. One of those guys who always fills out one of those pro games and holds his own against anyone. But I just think Lube is that next slightly level. How am I going to say this? Next level above. Oh, we got FC Bob in the chat. Hey, Bob. I can see Bob starting to get worked up. I'm not sure what is going to happen and whether we have to ban him from the chat before he starts saying something that's going to offend everyone who's watching. You can see in the chat here, Coin is making the most of the Spanish by basically telling his allies, exactly what nations the opponents have, and he will walk them all, so that once he walks across each rare, he'll be able to, his allies will be able to see that on their own map as well. And that's the great thing about having a Spanish player as your ally. Hey, Tiger. Can see Tigers in the chat. We've got Immaculate, we've got Coin, Adven, Bob. It's a good little showing for it's a, what is it, Wednesday night in most parts of the world, or Wednesday morning or afternoon. So we've got Prolez here as the Nubian player. It's pretty handy having die so close. Getting wealth early on really helps, especially with getting, the ability to buy food nice and early on. He is starting to stack a bit of wealth here, so, and he's got Amber. That's a really nice rare to have. Let's find that Amber. Okay, so it's near Momo's base. You can see some nice annoying raiding here by Coin, but that shouldn't be too much trouble for Momo to clean up. Oh, there is diamonds up there as well. I don't know if Prolez has seen that yet, but he needs to get onto that stat. Probably only revealed itself once this city here completed. And these guys have not scouted... Oh, they haven't scouted the relics yet, but because Coin is Spanish, it won't matter. Because he will take it. Yeah, make sure you check on YouTube. Sometimes you can fall behind. And you may not be seeing the latest of what everyone in the chat's talking about. So you can see British and Nubians are going to form a front here. That's Chatton and Prolez. It's the dream team of PN5. They've played many games together on stream. Versus Dave's Mongols and Steez's Inca. So, I mean, I'm going to give probably Dave's duo here a slight edge because I feel like Mongols and Inca, obviously they're tier 1 and tier 2. It's just a slightly better proposition than having Nubians and British. But it should be fairly even. On this side, Spanish and Persians versus Dutch and Lakota. I mean, Spanish, Persians, and Dutch are all fairly similar in my opinion, but Lakota is hacks, man. Like, Lakota is huge. So if PN5 really want to make the most of it, I feel like Momo needs to build his city very carefully in a nice spot here, and probably go for some early aggression. Looks like Momo's got other ideas though. He's gone for commerce too. To be honest, I don't like that decision. I feel like commerce 2 is wasted on this map. If it was a water map, I would maybe support it, but it's tough for a Lakota to really fill their commerce cap on this map. Unless I guess he could spam a lot of citizens. Maybe I just haven't seen it before. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But I've never seen Lakota go commerce 2 on a land map like this before. Bob saying in the chat that Dave had to cover Steez's ass during age 2. I'm not sure if he's talking about this game or last game. Looks like Dave's going for most likely a fairly standard build here. Is he going to go for commerce 2 though? He does have silk, but no, he's going for H2. There could have been a situation where he could have gone commerce 2 if he wanted to, and then gone for a despot com 2. But going for a more generic, more safe build here. I'm curious to see if Chatton goes for despot or senator as well. Hard to say which is the better decision, but I feel like Chatton is more inclined to go despot, just based on his style. Pairing despot Brits though with Nubians, yeah, we'll see how that goes. We can see that Proles is going for a bit of a divergence from a strategy. He's going for the Tetris build here. It's called the Tetris build because that is a Tetris block that is building no science, going for com, civ, mill, and then civ 2. Let's see if that's going to fit into pieces of this game. And I'm trying to think of Tetris metaphors. I can't think of anything here. But that is certainly it's a bit of a gambit. I don't know if I necessarily think it's going to pay off, but it will help with their map control wherever he decides to build it. Not a bad choice because Nubians do get an extra caravan cap. So by building their third city, you're getting the wealth benefits from 3 caravans as opposed to just 2, which most nations would have. But it's also putting him... It's going to make his age 2 quite late, and that's a big sacrifice to make to get that extra wealth. Oh, big fight here over these diamonds. You can see Dave is trying to raid these rares, and if he can kill some of these merchants, it's a long way to walk from the other side of the map. I know Lube would be pissed off if he lost his merchant there, but no, he managed to hang on, and nice little hold there by Jatton, and good city there by Proles. And sorry, I take that all back. Obviously, now that I can see this city going down, a big part of the reason Proles must have built Civ 2, aside from the reasons I talked about, the Tetris build here is securing this diamonds is huge. I mean, on a map like this where wealth is at a premium, securing diamonds for your team where the benefits are multiplied by 4 is a pretty decent investment. Coin going for hanging gardens here. Not a bad move, but again, pretty risky. He's rolling the dice. Playing as Spanish, they're already slow enough, and going hanging gardens is going to make it, even slower, and also potentially make him vulnerable to not being able to reinforce his ally, being Boo here. if Lakota was to go for a quick attack. Momo's definitely not got a quick attack in mind here. He's gone for the commerce too, or at least so far, but he is getting mill 2 now. And it's going to be interesting to see if he's going for a despot or if he's going to simply boom up to age 3 and attack from there. Because there is a common thought amongst a lot of the top tier players that when you play as Lakota, they're a very, very fast nation, but they're not so good in age 3 because once you get to age 3, they can't get crossbowmen, and crossbowmen are, the elite kind of unit you want in age 3 because they shoot a lot faster than their South American equivalent, being the, heavy archer. So it is, it's something to be very careful of. When you play as Lakota, you possibly want to go for an age 2 attack or an age 4 attack, but age 3 it can be a little bit tricky. See Momo here is securing the furs there, so that's going to be great for the team if they can all take advantage of that furs as well. And Momo's economy is looking great so far. It's going to be something that I would probably recommend that they should try and take advantage of, and not boom for too long, and not let this hanging gardens kind of come into effect too much. Because there should be a window of opportunity that, if Lube and Momo were serious about attacking Boo's city here, and it's almost approaching the 14-minute mark now. In theory, they could do so. There's no way that Coin's going to be able to provide much backup. No Colossus going down so far, unless I've missed it. I don't believe it's gone down. One thing I'd be saying that if I was Steez right now, I would be very tempted to build that Colossus ASAP. Because there's a fair chance that everyone in the game is just so on edge, they haven't thought about risking it. It's not rocket science that Inca with Colossus is incredibly powerful. To the point of being OP. Yeah, let's all pray for China right now. This coronavirus stuff is it's not good. It's not good for anyone. So let's all hope that the PLA guys are all safe. There are relics behind the PN5 guys' bases here. Oh, but they have not scouted it. Look at that. That is incredibly unlucky. It's literally that little patch of black. And they're probably not going to scout that. That's very unfortunate for PN5 because those relics would make a huge difference over the course of this game if they had scouted it. Can see some aggression here coming from Steez. Not choosing to get Colossus here, but instead going on the offensive. But it looks like Jatin has got, more than enough units.
Hey, dude, little help here.
And Dave pushing the issue over at this top city as well, so that is going to draw an army back, and it is going to split up the PN5 guys. It does look like Jatin's army's quite out of position here. No temple down. And aside from this lookout, there's not a lot of defense set up. Dave's probably thinking he's got to be careful because he doesn't know exactly where Jatin's army is, but if he had map hacks on, he could have actually gone in there and taken that city. Although it might have been for a fleeting moment. The army sizes are not too different. Heavy on horses and archers under his army composition. Whereas, well, actually very similar. The horses and archers as well. Obviously the British archers, much better. Ooh, a bit of action here as well. Looks like siege has gone down for Lube. That's a bit of a win there for the EL guys. Momo's army out of position here. And the EL guys took full advantage. Just looks like they went in and sniped that catapult and probably got a few more units as well. Dave continuing to pressure and pin Jatton to this base, which frees up time for a one-on-one here between Stees and Proles. Oh, and this is very important to note. Look at this. Stees is building Colossus here. And that's a very, very smart move to do that. In fact, I'd almost say that for the PN5 guys, they probably should have gone Colossus, simply for the fact that it means that Stees can't build it as Inca. And because the reason for this, it's quite obvious, right? But let's just go back to basics again. Colossus increases your wealth rate by 30%, increases your pop limit by 50, and increases your commerce limit for wealth and timber by 50. Most importantly, the wealth limit though. Inca is just insanely high wealth as it is. And once you increase that wealth limit up to 200, well actually it's even higher than 200 because they get extra 30% naturally. It's just insane. You can literally buy food, wood, and metal from your market because you just have so much gold. So I feel like EL would appear to have the long-term advantage here, at least on the top side of the map. I simply like the fact that they've got Inca with Colossus, and they've got Mongols as well, which is a slightly stronger nation than, up against Brits and Nubians. But it does look like there's some good pressure here by the PN5 guys at the bottom. This is where they really need to win, is this imbalance of nations at the bottom here. Because Momo, having Lakota, he's got a great economy. Look at that economy, that is superb. 208 food, 215 wood. Huge army here, and Lube's going in. They're playing well as a team, and look at this. Boo's got a nice, decent army, but there's just too many units on the PN5 side here, so a great city capture. And where is Coin's units? Again, Coin is playing in Spanish, so he's a little bit slower, but he also went for that hanging gardens, and his infrastructure is out of position as well. So overall, you can see that the PN5 guys have a superior map position, and essentially they can double on either side. If they wanted to, they can swing back around here and attack Coin, and basically every single time, Coin or Boo need to travel kind of the long way around. In fact, what I would like to see Lube build is a couple of towers here at this juncture, because that will really solidify and fortify their position, and be able to split the opposite two armies. If we look at the rares, they're fairly even between the two teams. You've got some good gold rares and sugar for EL. You've got dye, amber, diamonds, and spice. So look, straight down the middle, I don't think either team's got a huge advantage. Obviously, if they'd scouted this relic, that would have definitely helped. Boo retreating with his army. Although Boo, it must hurt him to retreat there, it's the right move. He simply would have lost all of his units for no reason if he had stayed there. and Jatin has finished the pyramids. So all the 3 wonders have been built now. Proles has got some great knowledge coming in. 155 knowledge income. It's actually more than the Inca player here. Steez has only got 140, but Steez will probably catch up soon enough once he gets his wealth fully up and running. Tactical retreat here by the PN5 guys. In the chats, Cypriot King Oki says, that ELLO guy, aka Coin, is kind of super pro, man. He somehow even managed to kill the mighty AI Trick. I might need a translator to tell me exactly what Cypriot King's trying to say there. Bob saying Inca plus Colossus plus Com2. Just like how you won the lottery, man. And I have to agree with that. It's incredibly strong. It's never good to let your opponent get Colossus when they're Inca, but we'll just have to see how this game plays out. Big engagement here between between Dave and Jatin. Dave obviously happy to take that engagement. And he's got a lot of horses here, making good work of these King's Longbowmen. And Boo retaking the city as well. Or at least trying to. Where did Momo's army go? He must have lost a lot of units. Prole is able to hold off here against Inca. It looks like Jatin lost a lot of units. It's a bit of a war of attrition here between Brits and Mongols. But too many cavalry. That army is weak now. Jatin needs to get out of there before he loses all his units. Maybe a little bit too stubborn here. He does retreat now, but he should be able to save them. This is tricky. Look at Inca spamming their unique units. The light infantry, the Inti Macemen. Strong versus foot archers. So he's obviously read the tooltips. Dave unable to translate what Cypriot King Oak is trying to tell us. So if there is someone out there who can, again, your opportunity is now. Looks like Loop's playing quite well here. He has got Coin on the back foot. And there is that nice prize of getting the Hanging Gardens if he can somehow manage to capture Madrid. Boo holding the line, but I don't think Boo has the luxury of being able to move until this castle is fully constructed. Because he knows that Momo can step in at any point. It looks like Momo might have lost a lot of units earlier on. Just going to have a quick look. He did lose 36 units, 19 killed. So it must have been a massive battle between Boo and Momo, which ended in Boo's favour. Unfortunate for Momo though, because without a bigger army, he can't really swing his weight around the map now. Steez is going to start to get scary now. Look at his economy. He's got 233, or it was 233, 250 wealth income coming in now. And he hasn't even built his second and third caravan. Perhaps he doesn't even need it. Although he's got Commerce 2 now, so his Commerce 2 cap will allow him a heap of wealth. These guys are going in now. And the power of Inca, he has captured the city. This is looking really good for the EL guys. Not so good if you're cheering for Proles and Jatin here. I have to switch across to the other side of the map though. Another big battle. How good is this? Action on both sides of the map here. You've got both Momo and Lube going at it here. Coin has a decent number of units, surprisingly. And a lot of horses coming around the side here, but they're not getting armor right now. Oh, sorry, I stand corrected. They were actually in range of the armor. City does go down here, so captured by PN5. This might even turn into a bit of a base race on both sides, if PN5 can break through. But it does look like there's a lot of archers here for Boo, and for them to be able to take those archers out, they need a critical mass of cavalry or to do some kind of charge here. I just don't think PN5 has enough units here to wipe out these two armies, unless they can get a great engagement. Whereas over here, you can just see the slow march across the map here from Steez and Boo. Oh, sorry, Steez and Dave. And yeah, this is like what we talked about. As soon as that Colossus went down, there's only one way to stop Inca with Colossus, and that's prevention, because there is no cure. The only prevention I can think of is to build it first, which you normally can do if you pay attention. That's not to say you can't beat Inca with Colossus, it's just you're up against it and you need to tailor your entire strategy around raiding, because these miners, they're gathering 10 wealth, but I mean effectively if he can spam citizens as much as he wants, he's got no population cap, it just becomes unreal. They do have peacocks too. That's a very, very handy rare to have. Although Steez probably doesn't give a crap because he doesn't need it. Nice little skirmish here. It looks like Jatten's playing quite well. I actually thought he was in trouble there, but his army is more than enough to send off Dave. Let's have a look at the military stats between Dave and Jatten here. 52 killed, 55 for Dave. And Jatten's got 52 killed, 32 lost. So a really good unit efficiency there by British. And let's check Steez as well. So Steez has got 155 units built, 29 killed, 35 lost. Boo with great efficiency, 53 to 21. So you can see, based on the size of Boo's army, that's the key. He hasn't lost a lot of units, and therefore his influence on the game is a lot higher right now. Although Momo has built up quite a respectable army too, despite the fact that he lost a lot of units earlier. Let's check the knowledge as well. So knowledge collected, Coin is in the lead here. He does have Hanging Garden, so that's probably fairly predictable, but it's a bit of a dead heat between almost all the players. Boo and Dave are the only ones behind on knowledge. So as this game gets longer and longer, Boo and Dave are probably the only ones who won't age to gunpowder as quickly as the other two. And I'm confused right now. They do have, the PN5 guys do have relics, so there must be 2 relics on the map. It would have been nice though if they had that second relic, because that would have made their aging time a lot faster. And Lube is going gunpowder right now, so this is a huge development in this game. Ooh, lots of players going gunpowder by the looks of it. Steez is going gunpowder, Coin going gunpowder. So that's going to be fairly even on this side of the map. Yes. But honestly, the big talking point here is the fact that Steez is getting gunpowder, and he's Colossus Inca. Look at that economy, 299 wealth income coming in. And he's got salt. Yeah, that's a very, very good position to be in. I don't even know what I would suggest for Jatten and Proles to do at this point in time. I would say they need to build a lot of heavy infantry. That's the first thing. And they probably should build a lot of spies too, because they need to get exceptional efficiency with their engagement if they're to have any hope of holding off this army. And if I was Steez, I'd say play it as patiently as you need to. There's no rush here. The other side's stabilized, so they don't need to win quickly. Just edge your way forward. Max out your army. He could probably spam units to get to 150 if he wanted to. And then just, you know, slowly move in. But EL are definitely taking a stranglehold of this game on this top side here. I feel like for PN5's chances, Momo either needs to make something happen against Boo, or what I would actually like to see here is perhaps if he came up here and attacked Steez's economy. That would probably help out his team and also allow Jatten and Proles to get back into the match, because they need to weaken Steez somehow here. Problem is, Steez has put an excellent castle here. I really like that castle. It basically avoids any chance that Momo is going to swing around there and dish out some damage. Looks like Steez is going in to take out this Aberdeen. Couple of spies here from Proles, so I like the decision to build a few, but again, just look at that army from Steez. Very impressive army. Nice defensive position here though. I like the British, the King's Yeomanry. Dave does hit gunpowder. So all players in gunpowder now except for Boo. Ooh, big engagement here between Boo and Momo. And knowing Boo, he hasn't engaged here unless it was an excellent opportunity. And despite the fact that he was age 3 against age 4, an excellent engagement there by the looks of it. And I suspect he struck there while Momo's units weren't upgraded yet. So again, if we check Boo's military, 32 units to 93 lost for Momo, and almost the exact opposite. So you can see that a big storyline of this game is Boo's making excellent usage of his units. Looks like Coin has actually walked over Lube here as well and somehow managed to tip the balance into his favor, despite the fact that they both aged at about the same time. So Lube calling for reinforcements. It looks like Momo will come around, try and help push him back, but I mean, Boo's got the same idea. Boo's going to reinforce as well. And after that excellent engagement Boo took, there should be more than enough troops for both Coin and Boo to fortify the city and take it out. Boo hasn't quite aged yet though, so whilst he can't upgrade his crossbowmen anyway, probably worth waiting to upgrade the knights. Well, there is a fight back, pushback here. So Proles and Jatten pushing for it together. They know that they have to attack together. And taking advantage of the fact that Dave was out of position. Oh, look at this army though. Look at this army. That is like headbutting a wall right now. Don't beat your head with the wall, as Zen would say. They're beating their head against a wall. It's a wall called Steez with Inca Colossus. And I mean, they had to do that. So it's good play. It's just, this is what happens when Inca gets Colossus. Don't beat the wall with your head. Don't think it's ones and zeros. Computer language. You gotta think. You gotta adapt. You gotta outthink us. And hey, good luck with that. Man, I'll never do a good Zen, but Zen is the greatest interview we've ever done. So you can see here, this is, look at the score of Steez, 8,000, and it's getting higher. Jatten actually has an excellent score too. Great economy from Jatten, but the units tell the story here. Look at that military graph for Steez. resource graph is also right up there for steeds. Jatton was close. Jatton actually had a better economy than steeds for a brief moment, but that's all going to turn pear-shaped very soon. Must have been a good engagement here with Momo's support to retake and push back coin here. Looks like Lube has recovered, so this game may actually not be over yet. Not looking good on this side by any means, but if Momo and Lube can somehow stabilize and push back against Boo. Remember, Boo was a little bit behind in knowledge, so there may be an angle of opportunity there. I do think the PN5 guys need to do something though. Maybe that's build some wonders. Forbidden City has already been built, and they're calling the GG. So that is, yeah, that is over. Clearly Steez is way too strong on this side. Great play by Dave and Steez. And great boom there by Jatton as well.
Cause you need that.
I felt like, I don't know how they do it, but they just needed to deny Inca from getting that Colossus. Because if they could somehow deny that, suddenly Inca is beatable. But Inca with Colossus in the hands of a good boomer like Steez, that was just incredible. So that is officially GG. Congratulations to EL. I'll update the scoreboard, but they do win this best of 3 series Showmatch 2-1. So what a great set of games though. This was a really high level game and a really high level series. We got a taste of how the strategies work with these nation picks. I really love seeing in game 2 that selection by Lube going with Turks. And I think this particular game, like I've said, key factors that led to this outcome were great nation picks, first of all, by the EL guys. I really like picking Inca on this map. Secondly, I think when they essentially didn't get Colossus on the PN5 side, that was perhaps a mistake because they had an opportunity to do so, at least one of them, just to deny it from the Inca player. But everyone was kind of caught up in their own skirmishes, so it just worked out that way. And then finally, I think Boo did a great job. I would say Persians are an inferior nation to Lakota by far, but some great engagements, some great battles there with excellent usage, and getting your value, your money's worth for his units. Able to essentially keep Momo in check, and that really was a tricky spot they were in because they had inferior map positioning here. If PN5 had played their cards a little bit better and perhaps traded more effectively, they probably could have doubled this city a little earlier in the game and taken a bit of momentum from it. But it just didn't work out that way because Boo was able to retreat, save his units, and then have some really great engagements. In a 4v4, there's so much going on, so it's impossible to talk to everyone. So I guess I better say that Coin played alright as well. No, Coin played great too. Playing in Spanish is not easy. So everyone did a great job. Colosseum here, I must admit, I didn't notice that, but that's a bold choice there by Jatton. But look, overall, what a series. Coin definitely worth his 10 cents. And EL takes out the Showmatch. So this is just a taste of what's to come in the tournament ahead. For anyone who hasn't donated so far, guys, if you enjoy the content we're doing, we're raising money for the prize pool for Nomadium 2. We've already raised a huge amount of, I think it's over 400 Aussie dollars, but we're targeting for 1,000. So if you can spare if you can spare $10 and you haven't already done so, please check the description of this video and just donate whatever you think is an amount worthy of the value that you get from these games and supporting these players. And aside from that, we will continue to bring you Nomadium action as the games get played. The qualifying rounds are still underway. We've already